Well, hello there and welcome to the Monday Media Coach Tip. A little later than usual, but nevertheless, still here on a Monday. I want to talk about 5 things that make a speech vulnerable, things that you should avoid, if at all possible, when you're delivering your speech. So firstly, what I call misinformation. That is something which a lot of people think is true, maybe even you think is true, but when you check it out, you find that it isn't. A classic one will be the Moravian myth, where some people say that 7% of communication is words, 35% is tonality, and the remainder, 50-odd%, is body language. All complete nonsense, and actually disowned by Professor Moravian himself, to whom it's attributed. So it's just misinformation. It's completely not true. The left brain, right brain thing, you know, the creativity versus the logical brain, and that's been disproved some 10 years ago, say neuroscientists. So misinformation, not a good thing. Then there's outdated information. Outdated information is where you're continually referring to something which may be a perfectly good story, perhaps 20 or 30 years ago, but is now producing sort of frowns and strange looks on the face of your audience because they don't really know what you're talking about. You've got to keep your information up to date, so don't include outdated information. The third thing is contradiction. It's surprising how often I've heard speakers say one thing early in their speech and then say the opposite later on, and that's simply easily avoided by going through your speech in detail, recording it, getting someone to listen to it, and making sure that you don't actually contradict yourself, leaving the audience confused about what you really mean. And then there's plain old-fashioned waffle, where you say something that doesn't really say anything. You just keep going on and on and on, droning, reading off your slides, reading your bullet points, without really getting anything across. All your words need to mean something. Everything in your speech needs to have a point. It needs to be relevant. And the last thing, which makes your speech vulnerable, is truisms. It is what it is. If you say something which is true and obviously true, you know, a good thing is always a good thing, that's no help. It doesn't make any sense. So think very carefully when you're preparing your speech about those 5 things that make your speech vulnerable: misinformation, outdated information, contradiction, waffle, truisms. Eliminate those from your speech and it will be a great deal better. Best of luck.